Hey everyone, John Chorba here from ReallyEasyGuitarLessons.com, and in this video I'm going to show you how to learn, practice, and play the song "I Will Follow You Into the Dark" by the band Death Cab for Cutie. So the song is from Death Cab for Cutie's 2005 album Plans, which is a phenomenal album. It's one I listened to a lot when my father was sick. It really helped me get through that whole process. And you know, "I Will Follow You Into the Dark" is one of the highlight tracks of this album. I've taught it to quite a few students, and it seems that, you know, every student that I've taught it to, they're always learning it for a significant other. So do me a favor, in the comment section, tell me, why are you learning this song? Are you learning it for yourself? Are you learning it for your wife, your girlfriend, your husband, your boyfriend, your significant other, whatever? Just go down in the comment section, tell me why you are interested in learning this song and who are you learning it for, if anybody. And hit a thumbs up on the way down and subscribe to my channel. So I'm going to teach you in this lesson just like I would teach anybody that's coming to me for a face-to-face private lesson. But since I don't know where you're at in your journey in terms of your skill level, I need to make sure that you know how to play some of the chords of the song and just some basic things. So the way I like to teach songs, I have a little bit of a process. And the process is this, I like to go through the song to make sure that the student knows how to play all of the chords that are contained in the song, because if you just try to jump in and start from the beginning and, you know, work your way off of like a chord chart or like reading the lyrics and try to play the chords along with it, if you run into a chord that you don't know, it's just like, what's an A minor / G? I don't know what that is. So the first part that I take all students through is just making sure that you know how to play the chords. Then I like to do what I call placing the chords in time. That's simply just figuring out how long each chord lasts for and break the song into chord progressions rather than just have it be one big blob of chords. And then at the end, we're going to add the strumming pattern and put the whole thing together. So if you already know how to play these chords, then you can go ahead and jump to this timestamp, because you don't need a lesson on how to play all these chords. You already know how to do them. You could jump right ahead and go into the next part of the lesson, okay? So without further ado, let's jump in and learn "I Will Follow You Into the Dark." All right, so here are the chords for "I Will Follow You Into the Dark." When I teach songs to students, I always like to make sure that we go through all of the chords in the song first to make sure that the student knows how to play them. Because nothing could be more frustrating if you're trying to just like kind of jump into the deep end right off the bat, and you're going along and you might know 90% of the chords, but then one chord comes up and you're like, how do you play that? And it could derail, you know, your whole system. So I like to make sure that you know how to play all the chords of the song first, and then go from there. So I'm just going to go through all the ones that are in the song, and I'm just going to show you how to play them. If you already know how to play them, great. You can skip ahead of this. If you don't know how to play them, then you need to be able to memorize them first before you move on to anything else, right? So if like you don't know how to play an A minor / G, an A minor with the G in the bass, then you need to know how to do that before you try to learn the entire song, because you're just going to run into a roadblock if you don't already have the chords memorized, all right? So first chord, A minor. And so by the way, we have a capo on the 5th fret. And so everything I'm talking about is in relationship to the capo. So when you play an A minor here, it's not technically an A minor, it's technically a D minor, but we go by the shape. So because the A minor shape in the open position translates to wherever the capo is, I'm referring to the chords and also the frets in relationship to the capo. So if I say I'm on the 1st or 2nd fret, I'm really on the 6th or 7th fret, but again, relationship to the capo, 1st fret, 2nd fret. Make sense? Okay, so A minor sounds like this, and that's going to be your index finger on the 1st fret of the B string, your ring finger on the 2nd fret of the G string, your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. You play the open A to the high E. A minor. C is the next chord, which pretty much your index finger and your middle finger are going to stay on the same strings and same frets. Your ring finger comes over to the 3rd fret of the A string. So I have 1st fret B string, 2nd fret D string, middle finger, 3rd fret ring finger on the A string. Play from the A string down. All right, F, the dreaded F chord is next. In the song, he plays it as a bar chord, where you are barring the first fret with your index finger, and then your other fingers are making the shape of an E chord, which would be your middle finger going to the second fret of the G string, and then you're ringing your pinky both to the third fret, ring to the A string, pinky to the D string, all 6 strings. Okay, so I know bar chords are hard for a lot of beginners. And so if you want to cheat a little bit and not do the F bar chord, you can do the F like so, which you're still doing a little bit of a bar. You're holding down the first fret of the B and the E string with your index finger, and then putting your middle finger on the G string, second fret, and then putting your ring finger on the third fret of the D string. If you're going to do it like this, you strum from the D string down. So there's an alternate way to do an F. I've watched a couple of videos of him playing this live. This is not how he does it. He does it like so, but if that's too tricky for you, you could scale it back and play it like that. It's still a little hard, but not as hard as doing the bar chord. The next chord is called a G/B, which is pretty easy. All you do is put your middle finger on the second fret of the A string, and you're going to play from the A string to the B string. You're only holding down one thing with that, the second fret of the A string. Then we have an actual G chord, and I believe he plays the G like this. I know there's a couple different ways to play a G. I believe he's doing it like so, where third fret of the E string, second fret of the A string, the D and G strings are open, and then your ring and your pinky are both on that third fret of the B and the E strings, respectively. Then the next chord is an E, which is the same as the A minor shape. You just move everything up. So we have the second fret of the A string, second fret of the D string, first fret of the G string. You play all 6 strings of an E chord. And the next chord here is called an A minor/G. You could also pronounce that as A minor with a G in the bass. With this chord, you're taking your A minor that I showed you previously. You take that, and then you add your pinky finger to the third fret of the low E string. So by itself, it sounds a little weird, but where you see it in chord progressions, it's like a little transitional chord. Usually when you see an A minor and then an A minor/G, an F tends to be the chord that comes after that. So just an A minor, you got to get your pinky involved, getting to the third fret of the low E string. And then the last chord is F minor, which again, he does it as a bar chord, which if you take the F bar chord that I showed before, it's that same chord with the middle finger removed. If you want to cheat that, you do the other way you do the F, like so. Okay, but with this one, you would want to bar the G, B, and E strings of the first fret, and then just remove your middle finger from it. So you go on. So if you're gonna do the cheat F, I would do all 3 of the G, B, and E string when you're doing the F, and then just take off your middle finger from there. So you're still barring. It's a little bit easier than doing that, but not technically accurate according to what I've seen him play. It's not as full. You hear an F to an F minor here because you're playing the lower bass strings. It sounds a little more full. When you do it here, it's a little more thin. Sorry, a little more thin, but it will work. It's the same chord. Okay, now that we have that out of the way and you are aware of how to play all of the chords that appear in the song, again, don't move on until you know how to play all those chords. If you can't play an F well, if you don't remember what an F is, if you don't remember what the A minor/G is, you're going to have a hard time putting the whole thing together. Start with learning the chords first, making sure you know them, because once you know them, not only do you know them for this song, you know them for any song that, has that chord in it. So do the work, put the work in and knock it off the list. Remove that layer of restriction. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to group these chords, how they appear in the song, and we're going to put them into sections, okay? This song really breaks down to having two sections. Really, it's just a verse and a chorus. And there's one little transitional section, and then the outro has just a duplicate of the last couple chords of the chorus. So it's relatively simple in terms of how it's put together. The tricky part is the chorus section is quite long. It's 16 measures long, and you have some difficult chord changes and different lengths of time for how long you're on a chord. So let me go through that. So we're going to start with the chorus because this is how the song starts, and it's probably the most repeated section of the song. So, okay, so the whole chorus section, we're going to put all the chords together, and that's going to be like our little loop. So we're going to do A minor, and I'm not talking about how long each chord lasts yet. I'm just telling you the order of which they appear in that becomes the cycle. So the chorus section is A minor, C, F, and I'm going to play the F and F minor as bar chords, but again, you could do the cheat way. So we have A minor, C, F. Then we have C, G/B. Then we have A minor, C, G. Then we have A minor, C, E, A minor with a G in the bass, F minor, C. So I know it's a long chord progression. That's a lot. Let me review all of that. I like to break it into three little sections. Okay, section 1, A minor, C, F, C, G/B. So that's the first part of just the chorus. A minor, C, F, C, G/B. The second section of the chorus would be A minor, C, G. And then the third section of the chorus would be A minor, C, E, A minor with a G in the bass, F minor, C. Okay, so what you want to do first is you want to memorize that progression, all right? You want to make sure that you can go from chord to chord without thinking, what is the next chord, right? Because if you could put all of that together where you don't have to think about it, it just becomes a section. And that's what you want to do. You want to take small little chunks and group them together until they're a bigger chunk. It helps helps with learning songs a whole lot faster, all right? So I'm going to go through it one more time. A minor, C, F, C, G/B. A minor, C, G. A minor, C, E. A minor with a G in the bass. F minor, C. The verse section is C, A minor, F, C, G. C, A minor, F, C, G. That's the section that gets looped. C, A minor, F, C, G. Okay, so what you want to do for both the chorus and the verse is you want to go through each individual chord change, right? A minor to C, or C to F, or C to G/B, or G/B to A minor, or C to G, right? Break this down into individual chord changes and find out which ones give you the most amount of problems. I know C to G is a very tricky change for a lot of people. I know anything that involves the F is a tricky change for a lot of people. So what you want to do is you want to focus on that first. Isolate the chord changes that give you the most amount of problems. Iron out the kinks on those before you start moving on to anything else, okay? So far, to recap, we memorized what the chords are in the song. We learned what the chord progression is, what the order of the chords are. And then we are now isolating individual chord changes that give us problems and working out the kinks of them before we do anything else. All right, now that you know all the chords and you've worked out the kinks and any of the chord changes, you want to now work on what I call placing the chords in time, either to the song or to a metronome, okay? So I'm gonna demonstrate it to the song with a metronome playing along to it. And I'm going to do that at the normal speed and also at a slower speed. So you can just kind of hear how long each chord lasts. Also, with the notation that it's kind of my own little notation. I don't really know anybody else that notates chord progressions kind of like I do. I feel like it makes more sense to students when I do it this way. So when I notate a chord progression, right, I underline the chord, and if I underline it once, that means that it lasts for one measure. If I underline it twice, it means it lasts for two measures. If I underline two chords and then split it in the middle, that means that there's two chords in one measure. One chord lands on beat 1 and the other chord lands on beat 3. So I think it'll make more sense as I go through it. So I'm going to go through the chorus chord progression here. I'm going to play along to the song, and I'm just going to show you how long each chord lasts. All right, so just looking at the sheet first, right? We have an A minor. I have one underlined for underneath that. That means it lasts for one measure. So it's A minor, A, 2, 3, 4, changes to C, C, 2, 3, 4, changes to F, F, 2, 3, 4, and now I have a split measure. So it means the C happens on beat 1, and the G/B happens on beat 3. C, 2, G, 4. So that first line should be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Next measure, or next line, A minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. C, 1, 2, 3, 4. And now the G lasts two measures. G, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4. Last line, A minor, 1, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, 3, 4, and then now we have another split measure, the A minor, last 1, 2, A minor / G, 1, 2, then we go to F, 2, 3, 4, F minor, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that's it, explaining my crazy notation system. Let me put the song on. I'm going to put it on at a slower speed with the metronome going, and I'm just going to play along with it. I'm going to count along, and I'll put on the screen when the chord changes are happening. 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, G, 2, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, D, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, D. All right, so if you want to do that to a metronome, that's at 110 beats per minute. One big thing when you're working on practicing placing the chord progressions in time, right? And the reason why we do this is we want to internalize how long a chord lasts for, right? Again, the name of the game is removing layers of restriction. If we have to think about what the name of a chord is, how to play that chord, it's hard to get going. You have to worry about how to change between a C and a G. It's hard to keep moving forward. So we want to remove those layers of restriction so we can work on the next thing, okay? And the other big thing we want to work on here with removing a layer of restriction is how long does a chord last for? We don't want to be thinking, what the next chord is in the progression and like when does it happen, all right? We want to internalize that. So you could do this along with the song. If you have means to slow the song down, I recommend being able to do that. But if you want to just put on a metronome and work on just changing chords in time, very valuable exercise. But the one key thing that you can't do when you're doing this is you can't cheat and move to the next chord too soon, all right? Watch what I mean. If I put the metronome on, this is just the metronome, right? If I'm practicing going from A minor to C, right, that A minor has to last, it's almost a full 4 beats. You're actually changing chords kind of in between beat 4 and beat 1. A, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4. If I'm working on just that change, notice that the chords are lasting pretty much the entire 4 beats. It's not completely the entire 4 beats. You're changing slightly before beat 1. But what you don't want to do, is go like this. A, C. See how like the chord, you're moving. Right here, what I'm doing is I'm moving like on beat 2 to get myself ready for the next chord. You don't want to do that because what we're practicing here is how long your left hand has to stay on those chords. How long they have to stay on the chords and how quick do you need to get to the next one, right? So if you're cheating by moving too soon, you're defeating the purpose of this, okay? So that's the next step, placing the chords in time to either the metronome or to a slowed down version of the song, okay? I just did the chorus progression. Let me go through now and do the verse progression. All right, so with the verse progression, we have C, A minor, F, C, G. The C lasts for 2 measures, so C, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4. A minor for 2 measures, A, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4. F for 2 measures, F, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4. And then now C for a measure, C, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4. Play that whole thing. C, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, A, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, C, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4. All right, let me go ahead and do that with the song. I'm going to do it to the normal speed. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So yeah, sorry if that metronome drifts a little bit. Obviously, when Death Cab for Cutie recorded the song, I don't believe they recorded it to a metronome. So there's a little bit of natural swing in there. So I'm trying to add in a metronome after the fact and trying to get it to be as close to being in time with the song as possible. There's a little bit of a drift there, but it's not too bad. It's around 155 beats per minute. If you wanted to practice along with the metronome by yourself, I would put it on at about 155. And just, again, all you're doing is trying to get each chord to last the requisite amount of time before changing to the next one. You want to be able to put that on autopilot so you don't have to think about it. The last section we have to talk about here is after the third verse, before the next chorus, after the third verse, where he sings "In the Blackest of Rooms." He does just one little extra chord progression. It's simply an A minor for 1 measure and then an F for 4 measures. So it's A, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4. Let me play along with it so you can hear what it sounds like.
Sleep is now, there's nothing to cry about, 'cause we're holding each other.
Right here, A, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4. Now we're in the chorus. So that's it. It's just a little tag section on the end of the third verse. Again, A minor for 1 measure, F for 4 measures. And then the very last thing is at the end of the song, the last chorus, when you get to the end of the chorus progression, so you're going to do the F, F minor, C, right? Now, instead of doing the very last time, instead of doing the C for 2 measures, right? You're going to do it for 1 measure, then you're going to go back to A minor for a measure, F for a measure, F minor for a measure, and then you're going to end on the C, right? It's just the very, very end of the song. I'm going to play along with the last chorus and point this out as it happens, just again, placing the chords where they belong.
If heaven had decided that they both are satisfied, illuminate the notes on the vacancy signs. If there's no one beside you when your soul and follow you.
Right here, A minor, F, F minor, C. All right, so what I'm going to do now, and what if you're at this stage of the game, you want to just be working on placing the chords in time to the song and memorizing the chord progressions, okay, and the order in which the song goes. Right. So I'm gonna play along with the song. And put up on the screen here the notes of what section we're in and what the chords are in that section, so you can follow along. Right. Again, I'm not adding strumming in yet. We want to remove the layer of restriction of thinking about what the chords are, what the chord changes are, what chord changes give us problems, and then placing the chords in time. We want to be able to not have to think about that stuff before we even go to add strumming in. So check it out. All right, so if you caught my mistake there at the very, very end, I went to a C instead of an A minor, and I'm not going to go back and do it over again. So I just notated that I made a mistake there. No big deal. So if you can do that though, if you can place the chords in time with the song and you got your head around the chord progressions and when the chord progressions happen. So the structure of the song is essentially chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, little tag on section, chorus, ending. And if you could do that, right, if you could get your head around that, you don't have to think about that. Adding in the strumming becomes really, really easy, okay? Because it's the same rhythm over and over and over again. I watched the video of him playing it. I think he doesn't play with a pick. I feel like he just uses his fingers to strum, maybe his thumb to strum. I'm going to use a pick. He throws in a couple of little embellishments where he'll hammer on to certain chords. It sounds to me like there's not much of a pattern with that. It's kind of by feel. It's not something that is set in stone where he does it the same way every time. Very common thing with acoustic strummy songs. You want to, we're not robots. You want to go by feel. Sometimes you do it one way. Sometimes you do it another way where you add in a little hammer on, or maybe you walk up to a chord. So I'm not going to go into super detail with how it is on the record and all the little embellishments that he throws in. Just giving you a broad overview of how you could strum along with this, okay? So you want to get the rhythm in your ear, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute the strings and I'm just going to execute the strumming pattern, right? Don't really pay attention yet to like whether I'm doing a down strum or an up strum. Listen to what the rhythm sounds like. You want to get that in your ear, right? Boom, doom, ba, da, boop, ba, doom, doom, ba. Like almost like you're a drummer, right? You want to be thinking like that. You want to be thinking rhythmically, right? Because if you could do that, if you could sing it, if you could hum it, if you could tap it on your leg, it becomes easier to recreate it because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to recreate a sound, not recreate a motion, okay? So da 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 da. You want to be able to do that. And now I'm going to convert that caveman noise into whether you're doing a down strum or an up strum, okay? We're going down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So it's down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, up. And what I'm doing, right, if you notice, my right hand, my strumming hand rather, because if you're left-handed, you're left-handed strumming. My strumming hand is always moving in this down-up motion, right? So sometimes, right, sometimes I'm doing a down strum where I'm not hitting the strings. It's like a phantom strum, right? So if you could do like just constant down-up strumming, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and then whiff on some of those. Down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. Instead of trying to go down, up, down, where you get really rigid with your strumming, it should be flowing free, and you're essentially doing a ghost strum. Some of these times when you're doing a down strum, you're not actually hitting the strings. Down, down, up, and right there I'm doing an up ghost strum. Down, my hand's coming up, but I'm not hitting anything. Down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up. Okay, so that's the rhythm for the entire song. I'm just going to put on from like the intro to the verse, and I'm just going to do that. I'm not going to do any chord changing. I'm just going to do that strumming so you can hear the rhythm along with it. You see that my right hand is going constant. It's not stopping. It's the same rhythm throughout, pretty much throughout the entire song. The only time he really has any kind of change is He changes the dynamics a little bit after that third verse, and then of course at the end when he slows down, he plays just one chord at a time. Okay, but if you've done the work and you know the chords, you know how to play the chords, you know how to do the chord progression, you know the order that everything goes in, then this now becomes easy. But a couple of things that you got to pay attention to, right? You got to pay attention to how many strings you're strumming. If you're playing an A minor chord, you should only hear 5 strings. You can't go. We don't want to hear that low E string, right? When you're playing the C, same thing. You don't want to hear the low E string. You want to be just on the strings that are played in the chord. So a little exercise you could do is on those chords that you don't play the low E string, just stay on the chord. And work on strumming just that chord and not hitting the string that you're not supposed to hit. So with this chord progression, I'm looking at the chords. The A minor and the C are the only ones that are 5-string chords where you don't want to hit that 6th string. All the rest of them involve all 6 strings, so you could hit all. You're supposed to hit all 6 strings for them. All right, so when we're going to add in the strumming, one very, very important detail is you don't want your strumming hand to be a slave to your fretting hand, okay? So when you're going through this progression, right, you don't want to, if your chord changes are a little slow, right? If you're, going from, say, C to F, which I know is a hard change, if that's slow, right, work on that in isolation. But when you're adding in the strumming, if it's still slow, you can work on it. But the one thing you want to focus on is your right hand not stopping, or rather your strumming hand not stopping, okay? Because we don't want to implement what I call the gap of doom, where you go, where there's these long gaps in between your chord changes when you're adding strumming. That's a bad habit to get into, right? If you work on your chord changes by themselves, they will get better, and you will eventually not have to worry about it. But until that time, if you're adding strumming in, you have to kind of give yourself a little bit of a permission to have your chord changes suck a little bit, where if you're changing from C to F and you get some muting in, I would rather you do this. You hear like some funkiness happening. I would rather you do that and keep your strumming hand moving than to have perfect chords but have this gap in between them. You want to keep the strumming hand moving, okay? So I'm just gonna go ahead and put the song on. I'm gonna play maybe just through the intro and the first verse to strum along with it, just to show you what it all sounds like when it all comes together. Everybody, thanks for watching. I hope you got a lot out of this video lesson. If you ever do a cover, whether it's on YouTube or on Instagram, please find me, tag me, let me know that you are performing a song that I taught you. I would love to see it and share it with all of my friends and students. So if you like this video lesson, I plan on doing more of them. You can send requests for songs that you would like me to do in the comment section below. On the way down there, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and best of luck in your practicing. Have a good one.